Hello. Yeah, we're live. Woo-hoo!
We're live.
Yeah, right. This is my first live Facebook thing ever.
This is cool. Oh yeah, we're live. So thank you everybody for joining us, whether you're joining us now live or on the replay. I'm joined here by my dear friend, Aidan Killian, who I had the pleasure of meeting back in 2012 in the Bog Hill Centre when he was performing stand-up comedy all about the banks. And I think you got in a fluoride joke at that point, so I was very fond of you from the moment I heard that joke.
I just wrote that one to impress you.
Oh yeah. But so tell us, Aidan, where you are in the world and how are you?
I am here in Amsterdam, the Netherlands, and I'm mostly good. I'm finding there's a lot of turmoil out there, but inside, a lot of the time, I'm pretty good, despite the madness. Sometimes I think, my friends, I've never read the book, but the Don Quixote guy, the warrior who fights the windmills, he's an idiot buffoon fighter. Yeah. Well, my friend Raphael, who he compares me to that character. He says, you're only ever happy when you're fighting something, Aidan. You have to look at you now, getting in good shape and being sharp, and just because you're fighting the COVID thing. Like, I think that's it. I just need a battle. Otherwise I get too comfortable.
Yeah.
Too comfortable. And is happiness really in the comfort zone? Is it really, Aisling?
Is it really? That's the question. But when I first met you, you were all about the banks and a lot of your material. So the first question for people who are new to you is, how in the hell did you end up getting into comedy and talking all about banks? Like, what was that about?
I worked for an American bank called Bear Stearns. They're a big financial institution, and they sent me to Tokyo to copy, paste, and enter, and they paid me too much money. And then I just did comedy for a laugh. I was never really into it. I just saw someone else do it, and I said, oh, I should try that. That looks like fun. And it would give me better presentation skills. Because I noticed, and I'm not sure if this is an Irish thing or not, but I noticed the Americans and Canadians were so alpha confident, speaking like this, even when they didn't have a clue what was going on. Yes, absolutely. I know. And then I would say something and I'd come across like a bumbling buffoon. Oh yeah, I'm not really sure. And I'd be blushing and awkward because in Irish schools, anytime you were standing up, they were doing it to mock you. Like the teacher wasn't trying to embarrass you and make you look bad in front of your peers. So I said, okay, I'll do that. And then I did it, and I had no fear of public speaking after that. And I fell in love with the stage, making an audience full of people laugh. It's like one of the greatest natural highs you can get. So I did that, quit banking, lost all my properties and all my stuff, and lived in a squat for a while and didn't care. Created a new show over a few years. And then the bank stuff, I could see it all happening right in front of me. I was like, wow, that was my old world. This is definitely going to collapse. And I convinced some of my family members and some of my friends to get out of their shares. I was like, this is definitely going to collapse. And it did. And then I realized, oh, wait, the pillars of society, that the banks and all that stuff, maybe they don't have our best interests in their heart. I started asking questions like, why is there fluoride in the water? Why is there homelessness? Why is the church covering stuff up? Why is the media always lying? And for a little while it was rocky, and then I realized, oh, that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is for now. And we have to live within that and just be honorable to ourselves. So I tried to make my comedy honorable. When I say honorable, I mean to stand by what I spoke about. Like, what's the message? Do I care about it? And if not, why is it in there? Am I just doing it for a laugh? Am I doing it to get the validation from someone so someone can, pat me on the back or, blow me a kiss? Do I need you? Because it's a thin line between getting instant feedback of an audience laughing, so they love me, or they're silent, they hate me. And living in this paradigm of being loved and not loved, like that's paradigm is probably the wrong word. Living in this space, why does it matter what other people think? And how do we bring it back to being really content by myself, with or without them loving or hating me? And there's moments where I found that on stage. It was, once I did a gig and I lost them. I did a political joke. They hated me really badly. And for a moment, I tried to win them back by softening myself, AKA being someone else. But then I went, hey, I actually don't care. I'm going to finish my set. And I enjoyed it. And I started laughing. I turned my back on them. I never slagged them. I didn't have animosity towards them. And I just did my own thing. And then I noticed one angry looking man with his arms crossed like a retired boxer. He just smiled, with pride, like I was his son, and he caught me pulling my pants down in front of the principal. I was being bold, but he respected it. And that's when it was very liberating. So rejection is liberating. That's what I'm saying. When people tell me I'm wrong, or, they tell me to F off, I won't curse in front of you, Aisling, because you're too lovely. If they say mean things to me, I don't really mind, because it just gives me an opportunity to question myself. Am I right? Am I being true? And if I'm not, well, they're giving me the gift of pointing that out, and I can learn from it. So thank you. And if I'm right, well, then why would I care what they think? It's as meaningless as a mouse's fart,
Yes.
Yeah.
So
anyway,
up to recent times, then you had created a comedy club over in Singapore.
Recent times, fast forward, I did a world tour, and on the world tour, I met a beautiful woman, and I wanted to be with her, and she wanted to be with me, and we laughed, and we kissed, and we danced, and we moved in together. But I stopped gigging then, and I became very comfortable in this space. And then I thought, okay, it hit me, Aisling, I'm going to have children. I'm going to have children, which means that I need an income, which means I can't be traveling to Australia. I built up this world tour: Perth, Adelaide, Melbourne, Edinburgh, Brighton. So I was always touring, which is perfect for me. I can meet the same people every year. I can reconnect with friends all over the world. But then I was like, okay, if I'm going to have kids, I'm going to have to settle in one place, or I'll never be there for her or for them. So I said, okay, I better make money. So I put on my banker hat, and I went back into how to make money. And I got involved in a comedy festival, ended up being the half owner of it, a really cool comedy festival all over Asia in 10 different cities. And then I bought a comedy club in Singapore, and it was the only full-time performance venue in Singapore. And it was beautiful, Aisling. I turned it around, I painted it, I got murals, and it was just this perfect place to perform. And I made a mistake with one guy who ripped me off, or I allowed him to take advantage of my, Anyway, I fixed all that, and I turned into a really profitable, like perfect thing. I was back in Ireland, relaxing, going, now I've got all this money coming in every month. And then boom, COVID closed it all down. And that reminds me of a story in the Bhagavad Gita, which goes something like this, Aisling. There was a king who built a castle, and he was proud of it. And then another king came along, saw it, and decided, I'll build a bigger one. And they built a bigger castle, and another king built another castle, and so on and so on. Until one king dedicated his entire life to building the biggest castle that could ever be built. And when he'd finished, a mouse came along and said, why did you do that? I did it so I could have the biggest castle in the world. And the mouse turns around, lifts up his tail, farted, and knocked it all down. And then goes, well, that was a bit foolish, wasn't it? Right? It's not the exact story in the Bhagavad Gita, but it's something like that. And that's kind of what I feel like. I built up all this stuff in Asia, and then I'm back, and I realized I never really needed it. I didn't even really want to be there. I wanted to be at home in Ireland. And now I was home in Ireland, but then this thing kicked in, and it was too much for me. I didn't like the restrictions. Restrictions don't work well with me. Rules and orders, unless they make sense and I choose to do it. Otherwise, it goes against who I am. It goes against my soul. It doesn't. I just get maybe angry. I get sad. And then angry is when I don't accept the sadness, and I fight against it. And I don't mind being in that state of fighting. I can fight peacefully too, but I decided I'm going to use my time to do something positive. And I've always wanted to do a storytelling course with my good friend Raphael in the Mesrab storytelling school in Amsterdam. And now I have the time. So I'm over here doing a storytelling course, and I'm working on Lou, the father of Cuchulainn. You probably know Lou. Yeah. So that's what I'm doing now.
And are you going to take that back to Ireland then when you're ready?
I most certainly am. I'm going to tour it in people's sitting rooms. I'm going to tour it in theaters. I'm going to tour it probably around the world, but I don't really want to travel all around the world. I prefer to stick to Ireland, maybe the odd one in the UK or the States, but Ireland, I want to be in Ireland. That's my thing. I want to have farm. I have chickens now, by the way. I've got chickens. No, I don't own them, but I mean, can you ever own a chicken? Can you ever own a chicken? Why did the chicken cross the road? Because someone tried to own it.
Exactly.
You'll like this. I was in a hotel, I won't say the name of it in case you get sued on your TV channel. Uh,
a letter in the post.
Your letter in the post. Yeah. I noticed your letter. Thanks.
Oh yeah.
No,
yeah.
I noticed your notice.
Yeah.
I was in a hotel and I went there, and it was just the deal was I would pay 800 for the month, which is cheap, but they've no people because there's no tourists, because there's a thing called COVID happening, and which is blown out of proportion. So when I was in there, we didn't have to wear masks or do anything, and I lived normally for a while. But then the rules started to tighten, and they asked people to wear the masks at breakfast, and I just didn't go to their breakfast because I didn't really like it anyway. I could skip breakfast. It's not that important to me to wear a mask to eat an egg and toast. So I didn't do that. You can keep your eggs and toast, which are not great anyway, I said to them. And then they said, you can't go into the bar area. And I said, that's fine too. I don't really need to drink in the bar area or to, so, but then they brought in the masks in the entrance hall, which I needed to get through to get to the place where I slept. So it's my home and I can't do that. So I said, I can't do that. And they said, oh, don't worry, we have a mask. And I was like, no, I understand. I could purchase a mask if I wanted. They're not that expensive. But what I mean is that I can't put it on my face. It doesn't work for me. And she seemed to get a little bit upset. And I said, listen, don't be upset. It's completely okay. You guys can wear them. And I'm fine with that. But maybe keep your distance if you have the mask on, just, for safety. And they were a little bit confused. And then they wrote me an email, like requesting that I wore one. And I said, I've noticed your request. I'll consider it. Right. And that was it. And then a security guard came along one night and they said I wasn't allowed in. And I said, sorry, this is my home. I am allowed in. And the only way you're going to be able to stop me is if you call the police, because you can't touch me, because especially you've got masks on. So you're believing in this disease thing. So I'm not saying it's not true. Of course it's true. Of course it's very true. I'm just saying that it's not, if you really take it seriously, well, then you shouldn't be coming so close to talk to me anyway, right? Because you wouldn't want to spread it to me. So I said, listen, call the police if you want. We're not going to fight, but I am going to my room. And the only way you're going to stop me is if you do that physically. So that put me in a predicament. So then we had the chat with the manager. Yeah. So I go down to the manager, but the manager was busy, and another lady started telling me I had to wear the mask out really loudly. So I said, okay, listen, I'll wear the mask on condition that you guys put in writing that you'll take financial responsibility for my well-being and for anybody else I come in contact with. And also you provide all the data you're relying upon to prove that this is in fact healthy and reduces the spread of COVID. And she wouldn't do that. And I understand that, because that would be taking a big responsibility, because it could well be dangerous. There's 40 years of science on this, but apparently they didn't have any data. They were just asking me to do it based on nothing. And I said, that would be irresponsible for me as a human being, because I have a responsibility to my brothers and sisters. And I can't put it on unless I have a full understanding that it won't harm people. Some people would claim that it collects bacteria, like in a Petri dish, and me breathing that in would reduce the amount of oxygen I have and therefore decrease the amount of years that I would have on this planet. And I don't know if that's true, but the fact that I don't know means I'm not going to do it. So unless you 100% know, and then you can convince me, and I'm easy to convince if you're a sensible person. So I told her I wouldn't wear it because I'm not a doctor, I'm not a shaman, I'm not Batman, I'm not a, V for Vendetta. I'm not a Greek theatrical performer. But the main reason I'm not wearing it is because I don't want one. And someone from behind goes, would you just put on the mask? And they had a mask on. I said, excuse me, I can't hear you with that silly thing on your face. So that's how it began. But I left there, and then someone saw on Facebook.
Was this like the ignition of the fight again? Not the fight, but
this brought me back.
The fire of Aidan.
This is what brought me back. It was just like I was minding my own business in the world, going along with things, and then someone told me to do something. And I was like, well, you might be right. That's the thing, actually. They could be right. She could be right. They could all be right. Bill Gates and the World Health Organization, the government and the state, they might all be correct. But I don't care. The fact that they're right doesn't supersede my sovereignty. It doesn't supersede my ability to make a decision what I want to do with my body. And wearing a mask or putting on Dettol every 8 seconds I can't do that and be happy. And my happiness is important to me. If you want to do it, go ahead. I don't care. Like, if you want to smoke marijuana and play football in the nude on Tuesday afternoons, it doesn't bother me. It's got nothing to do with me. It's your business. But as soon as you force it on me, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right. And I can't have that. So anyway, that's what started off. And I put the post up on Facebook, and it was like 400 comments, and people were calling me names. And I sent it to my little subscriber list. And then like I lost 100 people. And this girl that I fancied when I was 13.
What'd she say?
She reached out and said, I'm so disappointed in you, and and unsubscribe me. But there's a big unsubscribe button there. All she did was click it.
Yeah.
And for a moment, I felt like this rejection. And then I realized, why would I care what, a girl that I fancied when I was 13 thought? Again, this idea, this holding on to the fear of what other people think. And I think that's how people are controlled. Most people don't even really believe the mask stuff, but they do it because they're afraid of what someone else think. And that's dangerous.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. So she's unsubscribed. And anyway, she was never going to make my Mad Max team.
Why she not?
She was never going to make the Mad Max team. No way. She couldn't even work out to unsubscribe.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
So long.
Yeah. So, that's it. And then I had a few other instances. I was in a bar, and I wouldn't wear a mask. And that was in Ireland. And the barman wanted me to leave. And because I didn't even know about the rule back then. It was like a new thing.
Yeah.
And she wanted me to leave and then put on a mask outside and come back in. I was like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? And he goes, it's just what you have to do. And I said, no, what do you mean? You think in some way it's going to help reduce the spread of COVID-19. It's going to protect you and me and the other people here. If I walk out without a mask, put a mask on and walk back in, you think that's going to help? And he's like, well, that's what you have to do. And I said, no, it's like you're trying to make me redo a movie cut, like from a movie of my life. It doesn't work like that. You can't just pretend. You can't just pretend. And he's like, well, and he even sounded like your man, the Irish politician. Well, now, if you don't mind, could you just walk back outside? He's like Simon, what's his name? An annoying little weasel.
Yeah. Simon Harris, is it?
Thank you. Thank you. I was thinking of another Simon in my life. And so you wanted me to go back out. But like, if we could if that worked, if his theory worked, we could just go back in time.
Yeah.
And I'm not eating cake. I'm not eating sugar.
Amazing.
Look at my friend.
He's off the sugar.
See, I remember her.
Off the sugar.
Hi.
How are you doing?
How are you? I'm good. Are you trying to feed Aidan sugar?
He knows I'm not eating it. That's why he's doing it.
No, but this is amazing. It's for my birthday. It's one of the best cakes in Amsterdam.
This is what he did with alcohol as well.
But he's on the fast, so he can't. Sorry.
Look the
it's blue. It's not even a natural color.
Man.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll just lick it.
No, don't even bother.
Get away. Look at this. It's so mean, isn't it? It's so mean.
That's just he's like the tempting.
He's Jewish, you see. This is it. It's the Jewish. This is why they always get in trouble, the Jewish people. I sent him a Christmas card with Jesus a few years ago. And I just wrote, I can't believe you killed him.
Oh my God.
Yeah, put that on your Facebook Live. Anyways, my friend, he loved it.
He loved it, did he? Did he get it right, lad?
Yeah, he did.
Well, he knows the way you are anyway.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. Oh, sure. My Jew. I know I stay away from that because it gets me in trouble. Yeah. But I do have one or two jokes, but they're from him. So it only works if he's in the audience. And he'd
be laughing then.
Oh, he'd love it.
Yeah.
But I mean, Holocaust jokes really aren't that funny most of the time.
No, people are like, what?
Yeah, it kind of brings them back into that space. It can be heavy. But he's funny. He's teaching the storytelling. And in the storytelling, one of the things that I noticed in my world as a comedian, I mentioned getting instant feedback, but the need for the laughter, right? Within storytelling, you don't have that. I mean, sometimes you might, but a lot of the time you don't, which means you have to live for 3 or 7 or 10 or 20 minutes without a laugh. So it becomes a lot more in the heart space. You can really feel your audience. You have to know if they're with you or not, and you become in the story. So now I'm really focusing on that. Now, sometimes laughter comes, but I don't write it. Sometimes it just happens, but I'm trying to not be funny. I'm trying to not be funny. That's great. That could be my Edinburgh poster.
Yeah, trying to not be funny.
Yeah.
But you've been writing some new material as inspired by the whole mask situation.
I can't stop writing. I did an hour show on it there online, and it's just so ridiculous. it's so ridiculous, like the people getting it worked up. Well, I don't want to give it out about my family online, but they're like telling me I have to jump through COVID hoops, like put on masks and stick a bottle of Dettol up my arse. Okay, they didn't tell me I had to do that,
No.
but they want me to do stuff. And I'm like, okay, listen, guys, you want to do your thing. I'm going to do my thing. You go, well, you have to be careful. I am careful. That's why I don't wear a mask.
Exactly.
And other people say, just lie to them. But I don't want to lie. I don't want to live in a world where I have to lie just to be normal.
Yeah.
So,
you don't want to have to wear a hazmat suit to your Christmas dinner, do you?
No, well, we're not that bad. Not bad. But they'll follow the Irish rule. I don't know what the rules are over there, but because they change every 2 minutes. But there's talk about people wearing masks at Christmas Day. I don't think anyone in our family would do that.
No.
God, no. But still, if the rules are you're only allowed 6 people, they might consider that. I don't think they will, to be honest with you. Like,
no, I think they're going to let people mingle because people will start going.
Will they let us? Will they allow us?
Will they allow you?
Yeah, if you submit, if you sign here, if you give your sign of nature here, you'll be allowed to eat your Christmas dinner in peace.
Apparently,
if anybody dies, it'll be your fault. Sorry.
Yeah, but if you have to have the window open, apparently, and have the granny by the window, they were saying.
Put the granny. Oh, my poor granny. Oh, my granny's in a home. My heart bleeds for her.
How is she?
So much. She's all right, but it's tough, you know.
Yeah,
it's really tough. We can't see her, and she's a social person, and she's the matriarchy of our family, and we love her so much. And I'd put a mask on if I was allowed to see her.
Yeah,
I'd do it for that, and put my hands in the. Do you remember those things in the swimming pools that you put your feet in?
Yeah.
Yeah. What are they called?
The things that kind of bleach your feet, is it?
Yeah. Well, all the boys in school used to pee all over the ground, be walking and pee, and then they jump over that because they didn't want it was too cold. That's why I hated swimming.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know. Think about that the next time you're in a swimming pool.
Oh yeah, I tend to avoid swimming pools. I'll go swimming in the sea. Yeah. Yeah.
That's where all the sharks like yourself are.
Oh yeah. Well, come here. I loved your character that you had in your show recently with what do you call him? Do you have a certain name for him?
What character?
You know, your man who tells all the ridiculous rules that are going on.
I'm evil COVID-19.
Yeah.
And you better do what you're told, or I'll kill your granny if you go to a bar and you're standing up. If you're standing up in a bar, I'll get you. You'll be safe if you're sitting down, but I'll get you I'll be waiting like a school bully. And instead of taking your money, I'll take your life. Oh yeah, you better have a substantial meal. I don't care if you eat it, but you better have one and pay for it, or else I'll get you. Ooh, and you can't buy socks either. I'll get you if you buy a pair of socks at Tesco's. Ooh. Oh, and I hate old people, geriatric feckers, every last one of them. The only people who hates old people more than me is the Irish politicians. That's why they don't let their family visit them, but instead they sent me in. You can gather in groups though if you're a kid. I don't touch kids. I'm evil COVID-19, not evil Jeffrey Epstein. Anyway, that character. It goes on like that for a bit longer.
It goes on like that. You go through all the different mad different scenarios in all different places, and how, you know, the different rules here and there, and it just
in America and Canada, you can't play the music over 85 decibels in Canada, and in America apparently you're more likely to get it if you're black or if you come from, I don't know the words they use, the politically correct words, but anyway, so that means COVID is a racist too. And so that's it. So he is a character in the show that I was doing on Zoom, and I'm going to do the show again soon. I just haven't found the time. I enjoy it, actually. I enjoyed it. I don't know it. It's weird doing it on Zoom because you have the ability to read it because nobody knows. Like if I pull it up here, like when I was doing that bit, I was trying to pull it up to see if I could remember it.
Yeah.
But there's all these things open. And I realized something. When I did comedy first, I'd always know my jokes. But sometimes if I wrote it out on a bit of paper, if I had it in my pocket, then I'd need it. I'd have to rely on it because my brain would go, oh, it's in your pocket. And then you'd have to take it out.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Whereas, yeah, it's tricky. I wonder when I'm going to perform in Ireland.
Yeah.
will I be able to remember it all? Because it's an hour. I did an hour in 6 weeks. It normally takes like a year to write comedy. It just came to me because the fun, it's everywhere. It's just funny. Like I was on a plane and this grown man, a 30-year-old man, 30-year-old, good-looking guy beside me from Holland or the Netherlands or whatever they like to call themselves. He turned to me and he said, "Excuse me, can you put your mask on properly?" My nose was sticking out because it's better to breathe that way, right? And he's like, "No, excuse me, you need to put it on and cover your nose and your mouth properly." And I said, are you afraid of my nose? And he said, "No, I'm not afraid. It's just that, the rules are the rules and you have to do it." So I thought it was hilarious then when I opened a packet of Kettle Crisps, salted flavor, my little treat. I always buy myself a little treat when I'm on a plane after having to put up with getting probed and putting my bag through. So I get myself these €2 crisps and I took out a crisp and I looked at it with my mask on and I picked it up, brought it to my mask and then brought it back down, looked at him, looked at the crisp, and then I put it on the tissue on the counter and stared at it for like 15 minutes. And then I turned to him because how do you ask a grown man for permission to eat a crisp without sounding as if you're mocking him?
Exactly.
Right? Because I was thinking, how can I handle this? I've got like 2 hours in this plane. How can I do this without, like, the guy's obviously something, he could be sick or something,
Mm-hmm.
So I had to be nice. And I said, "Sorry, excuse me." I opened this packet of crisps and I was going to eat a crisp, but then I realized I had my mask on and I know how you feel about that. So I was wondering, maybe you could help me help you. What do you think I should do with the crisp? And he's like, "Oh, if you're allowed to eat your crisp." And I went, "Great." But then I was worried, like, because he'd said I could eat the crisp, but he didn't say I could take the mask off. So I was like wondering how to do it. Like, do I stick the crisp in from the top, like a postman delivering a fragile letter?
Without breaking it?
Yeah, right. Or do I, or is it like, do I do it from the side? And I tried from the side, but then my elbow touched him, and it's the elbow that I usually keep my dirty mask. And if he knew that, he wouldn't like it. And then this kid saw me like messing with the crisp, and she started laughing at me. This kid was mocking me. She'd no mask on. She was watching Disney cartoons and she'd snots all over her mouth and she was rubbing snots everywhere. And they're like 4 times more contagious, apparently. And I just realized I'm getting ridiculed by a kid. That's what it's come to. So eventually I got a bottle of water and I thought it was very funny, even though he didn't find it funny because he thought I was actually being nice. And I said, "Excuse me, I'm wondering, I just bought the water. How would I be able to drink the water?" And she said, "Oh, you just take your mask off. You're not a slave." That's what she said. And I turned to Dutch Brad Pitt. I said, "Did you hear that?" And then I sipped my water for the next 2 hours. And it's just the concept that some people, you have to wear a mask on a plane so you'll be safe. But if you're eating, which most people do at some stage on a plane, you don't have to. Now, if it really is dangerous, well, then we shouldn't even be allowed on the planes, guys.
Yeah.
No planes. Take all the planes, take all the cars, and just scrap them all up and make metal houses for the homeless. That's what I say. But it's just become ridiculous.
It's peculiar, isn't it?
Kids. I mean, they're making kids wear masks, and that's really not nice. That's really, and they take in a lot more oxygen than us. That is dangerous. And kids are more likely to die. Actually, true. They're more likely to die from lightning than they are from COVID-19.
Really?
Yeah. So if you're going to wear masks, you should wear a rubber mask. But it's like in a car, people are more likely to die from getting knocked over, most likely, than COVID-19. But should we ban cars? I mean, what about nut allergies? Should we make everyone stand 2 meters away from a Snickers? Like, people die from falling down the stairs. Should you not be allowed? You should only be allowed to live in bungalows. I mean, where does it end, the madness,
Yeah. Tell us about your recent trip to Sweden.
I went to Sweden because people told me that Sweden is I read in some articles, and people told me that, oh, Sweden's doing terrible. It's terrible over there. Oh yeah, because they've no lockdown, and they should have a lockdown. and
Yeah.
their government was terrible. And I said, well, hang on a second, what are you basing that on? This article, this looks a bit like hearsay. It looks like opinion to me.
Yeah.
And they said, oh, you know more. And I said, no, I don't, but I know that I don't know. So I got a plane. And my friend Steve, our friend Steve, he came from the Irish Inquiry.
Yeah.
And then another friend of mine is Sue. She's already had COVID and she doesn't wear a mask because she's told that she doesn't have to by the HSE and someone else, and she's got reasons not to. But she gets a lot of abuse for not doing it. Like people have been mean to her, shouted at her in public, in her face, and that. Yeah. So she came too, and then we just worked it out as we went there. We just interviewed people on the street, and actually it was really amazing. Like just the simple things in life. We had dinner in a crowded restaurant. We had to wait because it was so full because we hadn't booked in advance.
Yeah.
The woman serving us was friendly. She touched my shoulder at one stage, and the fact that I even noticed this means that I've already been psychologically damaged because I shouldn't be noticing things like this. She leaned across me and she took the water and she opened the lid and it touched her finger touched off the top of the bottle and she poured it. Now in Ireland, people would be freaking out about something like that. Oh my God, they touched the water. I'm going to die. I'm going to die from Santa Claus. No, the other thing, COVID. And it was I took a photo for this group of people. It was like 8 women having a birthday party and they were all right beside each other. The bars were full. I had to do research, so I went to the bars. And yeah, bars are full, cafes are full.
Yeah.
And people say, oh, but they're really subservient and they do what they're told, the Swedes. First of all, that's quite insulting to presume an entire country are subservient. What does subservient mean? They have an overwhelming tendency to obey all the people of Sweden. It's hardly true. But okay, they do seem to respect their government over there. And maybe they have reason to do that. I don't know. But they don't have a lockdown. And yes, the government killed people. Or let me rephrase that. Yes, a lot of elderly people in homes died at the start of it.
Yeah.
And they did in Ireland as well. Now, I don't know if that was because someone messed up. I don't know the reason. I don't know if it was done on purpose. I doubt it. I'd say it was just an innocent mistake. But after that, like after April, Sweden have done better than Ireland. And we've been through some serious psychological damage. When I say that, I'm slightly flippant with that because I don't have my exact figures. But even in the Irish Times the other day, the bottom paragraph, they were talking about Sweden and Latvia doing really well. But yeah, the debts are very, very low. The people over there, all businesses are open. They didn't close down 3,000 family businesses, the bars, and thousands of other family businesses, putting people into debt. It's really awful to be in debt, to be poor, to be in need of the state to protect you. You're not our mom and dad. Like, you stay away, let people do their thing. If they want to open, let them open. If they want to close, let them close. But borrowing billions so they can give people free money, I mean, there's going to be consequences to that. And I don't mean to be negative. It's not about being negative. It's a mathematical equation. If you borrow money, you need to pay it back. That's it. Unless Ireland's going to have the strength to say to the IMF, listen, we're not paying. Thanks for that, suckers. We're going to issue our own currency and we're going to give everybody free land to grow food and have chickens. So see you. I mean, that'd be awesome, but it's unlikely they're going to do that. So what they've done is they've bankrupted the country, and more or less. And there's a sadness in that, Ashley.
Yeah, but in Sweden, say, because that's something that I've heard when I've mentioned that to people, is like, oh, well, they are able to do that because they have so many hospital beds. I don't know if you know the figures, but like, I doubt that they're doing that, endangering everyone if they were feeling that would be the outcome.
Well, I think the hospital beds thing is important. If we get to our maximum capacity, well, then absolutely, then we need to take care, find ways of doing that. But we're not. That's the reality. We're not in Ireland. We're not at maximum capacity. A lot of the hospitals more people have died from, 10,000 people die from cancer a year in Ireland. 10,000 people die from cardiac or heart problems in Ireland a year. Like 2,000 people, so they say, have died with or of COVID. Okay, so why are we not like banning alcohol and salt and sugar and McDonald's and all of that stuff, since clearly that's killing 5 times more people? But to Sweden, I'd say they do have better beds, but we had an opportunity. We saw this coming. We borrowed billions. We could have built hospitals. We could have built more beds. Yeah. And I think we did have some beds, but they weren't even used. So they might be. I mean, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, it looks to be seasonal. So no doubt, there's going to be more deaths next March and April. That's flu season, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's what happens every year. Like, people die of the flu, usually the most vulnerable people.
Mm-hmm.
And the Swedish, well, the Irish doctor said that too. Was it Martin Feely? He said it's not as bad as the flu or something like that, and they got rid of him, or he had to leave, whatever.
You had to step down then.
And but the beauty of Sweden is they've done it, they've achieved it, and people can say, oh, well, Norway did better and Denmark did better. Sure, okay, absolutely, they did. But Sweden did it. They opened up. Oh, but they did social distancing. I was there. I witnessed it. Yeah, some people social distance. Yeah, of course, some people stayed at home. They were worried, or they had health conditions and they're taking care of themselves. Some people decided to get fit. Some people decided to take vitamin D. Some people decided not to go to work. They all had the choice to decide what they wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And the country is beautiful. It's like paradise in comparison to the misery of Ireland, and I love Ireland. So I say that with a heavy heart.
And what's your hope for this next year, 2021?
2021. Well, I'm going to stay strong. Hope is tricky. I saw some dodgy YouTube clip about Christ being reborn in the next few weeks. Yeah. Like something to do with astrology, the Christ presence, like the Christ energy is coming back to earth. Yeah. So I think that'd be a good way to start. If like Christ consciousness occurred for all of us, that'd be my starting place. Yeah. I'd like to be enlightened. I'd like, what do I want? I'm meditating.
If you could have anything now, what would you want? If anything was possible.
Well, eternal bliss for all beings. It's as simple as that. If I was to bring it back down to a more normal level, I suppose I'd like to raise my own game, to be happier, just to have acceptance. Whatever happens in the world, but I can deal with it in a strong but peaceful manner. That'd be nice. I don't have any goals as in doing a big show or anything. Oh, my storytelling show. I want to do my storytelling show around Ireland. That's going to be fun. It's really liberating. I'm really focusing on sovereign, the ancient stories. There's so much in them. So I'm looking forward to doing that. I don't have any immediate monetary goals. I'm quite content, really. I have it all just to stay on track, just to stay as good as it is now. I mean, I want to fix everything, Aisling, but I can't fix the homelessness. I can't fix all the problems. So I just need to fix myself. Fix myself. I need to just stay cool. I mean, I want to go swimming. I want to go swimming in the sea.
You're gonna come down to us in Kerry and come for a cold swim?
Yeah. I'm gonna come down and flirt with your friend. Gonna win her over. I'm gonna marry her. I'm gonna marry her. I'm just gonna go down and look for a plot of land so we can raise kids. Yeah, I'd love to visit you. I'd love to visit. If you'll have me, do I have to wear a mask or?
No.
Will you hug me? Will you give me a hug?
Oh yeah.
Will Richie give me a hug?
Yeah, he will. I'm sure he will.
If you put in a good word for me. Yeah.
It'll be great to do the show down here as well.
Let's do it. I'll learn it off. Yeah, let's do it. And I can even tell one of my loose stories as well.
Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Aidan, for your time.
Always happy to see you. You're very
lovely to connect. And I like that you're doing your fasting and you're on your warriorship path.
Warriorship path. Yeah. I am. I feel like a warrior at the moment.
Being called into it, and it's just great to reconnect.
Wait, one thing on that. I noticed that as soon as I stepped into this place again, re-stepped into it.
Yeah.
I have noticed I'm attracting a lot of awesome people, like randomly. Like even in an airport, I met these 3 Swiss men, really, really tuned on, really together. We're having great talks, reconnecting, and people are reaching out to me on social media that I haven't talked to in years, or that I don't know yet. And so there is the shedding. I am the letting. I talked about rejection earlier. The letting go. It's not really rejection. It's just it's the are you? Are we able to let go of the stuff that don't serve us, serve the highest good, and welcome that which does? And I'm feeling that at quite a high level at the moment. So that's fun.
Yeah.
Fasting's easy. I just miss a juicer.
If you had the juicer now, you could be having those juices.
Yeah.
My very last question to you before we go is, will you be lining up for your COVID vaccine when you come back?
Yeah, you'd have to kill me. I just wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't do it. Like, I won't do it. I wouldn't kill. I don't think. I've always asked this question. Would I kill someone if it came down to it? So if I was in Germany back then and I was made do something wrong, would I do it? And I never knew the answer to that because a lot of great men and women did do it.
Mm.
And if I was in Russia or if I was in, whatever at any century, would I have done that? And I think for me now, I feel quite clear that no, I definitely wouldn't. It's just I just know there's a sense of knowing that it's not possible. It's not within me to do that. I mean, of course, it's within all of us. I don't mean that. I mean that I'd have the strength to say no. And I don't know what's in the vaccine. I've no idea. I've absolutely no idea. I don't care what's in it. I'm not getting it.
Yeah.
Right? There's no possibility I would ever take it. Like, unless they force it onto me without my consent, like they stab me with it, But I won't be consenting to a fucking vaccine. Are you mad? Are you mad? Like, with Pfizer, they've got like the massive record of like billions. They've been sued for billions. They've harmed so many people, and they don't care about you. They don't care. There's no love in them. What they're doing is trading for profit. They're like, I don't know. I mean, it's not about they are bad people. It's like their product sucks. Like, I mean, I'd eat a McDonald's once every 2 years if I was with someone who wanted a McDonald's. I wouldn't look forward to it, but if I was hungry, I'd have a chips and a Coke and feel bad for the rest of the day. But that's it. Like, that's every 2 years. Would I have a vaccine? No, because it could really damage me. Like, could really damage me. I don't know why I compared a vaccine to a Big Mac. But I know people say there's awful stuff in it. I really don't know. Some people say I should get it to be responsible. I think it's irresponsible to get it. I think it normally takes 5 years to test a vaccine. So come back to me, and then this one is a big one. So give it 10 years. So come back to me and ask me in 10 years, and I'll start the conversation on whether I'd consider having one. And then I need to look into everything. And if there's any like human fetus or animal stuff, or if there's anything that I don't like the sound of or don't recognize, absolutely not.
No.
Yeah. Well, it's just vile. And also, you know what? At this stage, I'm just not doing it anyway. Even if it is good, even if they can prove it's good for me, I'm like, nah. Why? Because I made my mind up. I'm allowed to make my mind up. Yeah.
Yeah.
I should write some jokes. I was going to do a show on vaccines, but I don't know. We'll see. It's going to be an interesting one if they try and force it, or they do the passport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the concern that I hear from people that I talk to.
Yeah. Well, that's something I face because my business is abroad too. So would I do it? I think no. It's just I wouldn't do it. That's it. I can't give that power to someone else. It's too risky if they made a mistake. Like in Sweden, I met a policeman, and he told me that he didn't get the swine flu vaccine, but people in his class did, and somebody got narcolepsy. Yeah. And I didn't know what that is, but he told me it's where people get really tired and they lose their energy. And I looked it up afterwards, and there was a big case. A lot of people they even had to apologize and pay money out and all that. And I was like, so they made a mistake before. So mistakes are possible. Yeah. And also, I'm not really that afraid of COVID. It's just the numbers are there. The odds are there. We can see everything already. The data's there. So I don't see why you'd get it. Like, it's way more terrifying than catching the flu or COVID, Yeah. In my opinion.
So we'll end on a high note. So tell everybody where they can find you and hear about your show and all that.
I thought you were going to say tell a joke. I'll do the show whenever. I have nothing to sell except the eternal happiness in my heart, which is already in your hearts. So you can find me there inside your own heart. I'm working on my website, www.aidankillian.com. So I will have in the next month a show or something on there to offer you, and you can see it or Google me or Facebook. Just reach out to me, say hello. Yeah. If you're friends with her, you'll be friends with me. We're good people. Yeah. Love me. Tell me you love me. Clap at my jokes.
Laugh at every turn and every story.
Yeah, I'll come down and do the show in Kerry. Yeah. Yeah. Go down and visit Scotia's grave, like old times.
We'll do a little trip, a little excursion.
Done. I'll come down.
Lovely.
See you soon.
So take care, and thanks a million, Aidan. It's been fabulous talking with you.
God bless and be happy.